Hey there, Code Squeezers. Welcome to another Whiteboard Wednesday. And today's Whiteboard Wednesday is going to be all about the ROI, or return on investment, of automation and manual testing. I was reading a book, getting to be a couple of years ago now. It was this one called Managing the Testing Process by Rex Black. You know, I'm going to burn up a book review here and say this book was kind of crummy, unless you're looking for you know, Excel layout plans or whatnot for test plans. But maybe I'll still do a book review, but it kind of sucked. But there was one gold nugget in it, and it really got my brain thinking, and really made me start figuring out the pros and cons of doing a lot of automation testing and just some testing, and handing a lot off to manual testers, whether they're local QA folk or customers, or maybe outsourced to India or something of that nature, but they're manually clicking through the application. And the chart looks something like this. So if we have our chart here, and this represents manual testing, and this represents automation testing, what they kind of laid out is that things were kind of broken out like this, where here's poor, here's good, it's all right, here's good as well, but up here is excellent. Alright, so it's kind of broken out like that. Now, this is the percentage of manual testing, let's say. So let's say that, I'm just being hypothetical here, that any given person can, or QA team can click through and test about 70% of the scenarios in any given time. So let's say that maybe, you know, right here is smoke testing at maybe like 10–20%, and a good QA runs at about 70%. So let's mark up 70% here. Now you see that that effort alone is not good enough to be an excellent QA run. It's good, you're testing, but in order to be really good, you have to start automating your tests, obviously. Hence unit tests, regression tests, even UI automation tests. So let's put those on the board. I'm gonna kind of say that about 40%, I'm totally guessing at these numbers, but about 40%, let's say, is CRUD testing. That's a 40% effort of automation testing. That's about right here. Let's say having a lot of unit tests, CRUD, business logic, validation, things of that nature. Let's say that that's a good 85% of automation that you should be doing. That's up here. And a good 100% run, or 85 and above push, is you actually have UI tests. You know, they're clicking at coordinates and modifying buttons and things of that nature. But the problem with that is that that's expensive tests. Those are expensive tests to write. You know, it's not often that we have, you know, WinRunner is like $10,000 a license or whatever. And the other problem is they're fragile. They're fragile tests. So this is where the ROI comes in. So going back to a lot of unit tests, regression tests, things of that nature, at about 85%, if we cross-section that with our original 70% manual testing, we're up here in the excellent range. I mean, we've achieved our goal to do excellent testing. What is the ROI, or the return on investment now, to do UI automation testing? Just being hypothetical. The line in the sand can be drawn differently for every single project. But my point is that not only as effort marches this way, or effort marches this way, this is time. This is time, this is money, this is effort, this is test fragility. Everything is going up or out. So, for example, let's look at the automation tests again. To do basic CRUD, very little time effort, but also very little return on investment. Business logic, medium amount of time, medium amount of somewhere good in the middle return on investment. UI automation testing, good, excellent top-down testing. You're making sure everything works. But you know what? Those tests tend to break a lot. Buttons get moved a lot during development. So they're very fragile tests. They also take a long time to run. They also take a long time to build. So you really have to look at the ROI and start drawing lines in the sand. Don't go into it saying, you know what, I'm going to build 3,000 UI automation tests, because that's probably not practical. It probably doesn't have a return on investment that you want. I'm not saying don't do UI automation testing. Not at all. I'm just saying really take it for what it's worth. Maybe only UI automate your top 10 smoke tests or your top 10 most difficult repetitive manual tests that you have to do. Just remember that you're shooting for an average of excellency, not 100% all out excellent test plan or test attack, if I will. So that's all I got for today. Thanks. See you next time.